Hello all and welcome back. What a day yesterday was for the cryptocurrency space. In fact, what a week or weeks it has been since the beginning of the year. Things do appear to be looking slightly better across the space, and we're covering that today, as well as a absolutely huge announcement for Hedera's network in terms of their enterprise use cases. It does appear that 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏 has actually gone live, and I'll be digging into that later on in the video. Of course, the first thing I wanted to quickly look at was the crypto bubbles on the weekly performance. We can see a literal sea of green. In fact, there's only one red there I can see, which is of course that flare token. However, majority of the projects we talk about on this particular channel that I'm interested in, things like Hbar up 32% over the week. In fact, we have reclaimed the $1 billion market cap in terms of dollars, $1.3 billion market cap we're nearly sat at. Plenty of others as well. 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗏𝗏 is up 25%, which is fantastic. Algorand pushing 19.4%. Stellar Lumens or XLM up 15.5%. Quants on here somewhere. I can't quite find it at the moment. It's the engine up there, 31%. Chainlink, another interoperability play, up 17%. So majority of these cryptocurrency projects, these altcoins, are doing fantastically well. And that is because, of course, Bitcoin has been surging forward. I will take a closer look at Bitcoin in just a second. However, it stands to reason that there will potentially be a bit of a drawdown or drawback at some point. Of course, things that go up must come down inevitably, and we cannot expect things to continue upwards in this trajectory for a sustained period of time. Me personally, I'm not really interested in taking any profits at the moment. I'm of course in this for the long term, and I'll continue to average down into these positions, particularly if there is a small drawback. The great thing to say though is it looks like some of that FUD around FTX has actually been shaken out of the markets. Again, I'll touch on that in just a second. Looking at the fear and greed index though, we can now see we have come out of those extreme fear territories, and we are sort of still in the fear of 46, but approaching the neutral territory. Those of you that have watched this channel, excuse me, for a long period of time will know that I like to look at this in terms of great places to enter the market. We've seen in the past when things have been extremely bearish, we're in that really low zone of fear. The lowest point we'd seen was June the 18th last year at a fear and greed index of 6. Conversely, when we're at the extreme levels of greed, that is when we have seen some of the higher prices for cryptocurrencies and the markets at large. So we can see we are swinging back up towards this neutral territory. This, of course, is not indicative that we're going to see a crash or anything like that. Regardless, I do like what's been happening recently. Looking at the Bitcoin chart then, we can see it has absolutely surged back past that $20,000 sort of resistance or key support level that many people have been eyeing up. Of course, this could continue to accelerate towards the upside, or we could see a bit of a pullback. The interesting stuff though to note is this channel we see here between this larger red candle and the latest green candle that's currently being printed. This is really that period of FTX FUD when we saw FTX completely capitulate in the middle of sort of November time. And of course, that kept the cryptocurrency prices, things like Bitcoin, heavily suppressed for the remainder of that period. It does look like we'll be coming out of that channel now, and we'll continue to crab sideways going forward. I did want to point this out though. Of course, I'm not speculating whether that was the bottom price for Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin being the sort of primary mover for the cryptocurrency markets before our faithful altcoins begin to move. However, some interesting sort of correlations between past movements have been shown here. So this is by someone called 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 64 days long. 20 followed by the subsequent 2017 to 2018 bear market of 364 days we can see here. That then of course moved into the next bull cycle we'd seen previously, very cyclic in its nature, the cryptocurrency and Bitcoin market. 2018 to 2021, the bull market, ironically, 1,064 days from that last bear market price to the top of that bull market price, the highest price achieved in that bull market. Current, so 2021 to current market low, has ironically been 364 days as well. So potentially, if history repeats, not saying that it does, but it often rhymes, we could be seeing another 1,064 days, or just under 3 years of crabbing upwards to the right direction as we approach a inevitable blow off top that we had seen previously. Now, of course, this could pull back and that may not have been the bottom signal. However, this was this sort of stuff that I was alluding to previously when I've been talking about interest rates and my previous video, whether crypto would recover in 2023. of it actually just crabbing sideways upwards, though slowly over the course of a year, which is of course fantastic if you're in this for the long term. It allows you to build those positions and obviously not get hit by tons of FOMO, which of course is what is happening at the moment. Do not just ape into positions because you see green across the board. Make sure you understand exactly what you are doing. Anyway, that is enough of the wider macro updates for the crypto markets. Of course, some very positive stuff. However, there is some even more positive bullish news around Hedera. So yesterday, I did shoot out this tweet quickly. The Hedera mainnet firing up again. I saw over or nearly 1,000 transactions per second on HederaTransactions.com. The topic ID to me, when I was looking at the time on Metrica, appeared to be 120438 producing those transactions. I should have done a bit more research, which is of course the AdStacks platform. And then a few people did come to me saying, no, it's a different topic ID that appears to be producing those transactions. I then sent out a further tweet saying, hold up a second, Metrica was a bit slow to update for me. The topic ID that's been processing all of these transactions we've seen, which hopefully many of you have, is actually 1693742. I then took a closer look on hashscan.io and the transactions specifically, and they show the topic ID of that 1693742, which is a new topic ID. And the payer account of that topic ID, so what was paying the Hbar to process those transactions, of 0.01459,478. And this is actually known to be an 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏 or Avery Dennison Hbar account. So it appeared immediately like Avery Dennison was processing these transactions. I did a little bit more digging as well, and 0.01029172 is actually the account that funded that 𝗟𝗏𝗡 transaction run, bulk processing of transactions on the Hedera mainnet back in December. That account was also funding a handful of smaller Hedera accounts along the way with 500 to 7,500 Hbar. And those accounts then funded some new accounts in turn. So basically 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡 or Avery Dennison have several different Hedera accounts. Anyway, that 0.01459,478 was one of those smaller accounts, and it's the account that was funded with 2.3 million Hbar or $100,000 worth of Hbar at the time of me recording that in the video that I spoke about previously. So yes, that account that was funded with 2.3 million Hbar, that Avery Dennison or 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡 account, is now pushing tons and tons of transactions through the Hedera mainnet, and it has been sustaining that for nearly 24 hours, or actually at the time of me recording this, just over 24 hours. So then moving on to my next tweet, we saw over 16 million transactions being processed on Hedera. Again, I said in the last 24 hours, it wasn't even a 24-hour period per se, as majority of them kicked off from just after noon on January the 13th, and then going through towards the end of January the 13th. Nearly 15 million of those transactions out of that 16.17 we can see here were coming from Avery Dennison's world-leading connected product cloud, 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡. Is when 𝗟𝗏 actually now, I believe it has deployed in time for the World Economic Forum's Davos Summit, which of course was what I was talking about in previous videos. I had some inklings and suspicions that this is what they were doing behind the scenes. They were gearing up and getting ready, and it does appear that they have fully deployed this. Now, fingers crossed, touch wood, that this continues to stay live on the mainnet, and they are not doing this just for the World Economic Forum. As it currently stands, this is a longer run than they did previously in December, so it does speak to reason, particularly with the amount of Hbar that they use. That could fund 20 to 30 days worth of transactions, that $100,000 worth, that will remain in that wallet to process transactions going forward into the future. So this is incredibly bullish. The too long didn't read is 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡 looks like it has fully launched. The reason I am saying looks like and not confirmed is because we have not had a statement directly from Hedera themselves or 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡 confirming that this has fully gone live. However, for all intents and purposes, it does appear to have done that. Hedera then recently tweeted out, over the past 24 hours, the Hedera network has processed more than 50 million transactions, averaging 578 transactions per second and hitting transactional processing highs of 2,824 on the max TPS we can see there. Just a sheer wall of transactions going through the Hedera consensus service, of course, being pushed through by 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡, Avery Dennison's Hedera use case. Welcome to enterprise adoption of Web3. Enough said. I think that's a fantastic synopsis of what we've seen recently. This is what many of us have been waiting for. This is the time of enterprise adoption. And of course, they will be leveraging and utilizing Hedera for its sustainability and scalability. Really, really bullish stuff. And I cannot get into words how excited I am to see this use case go live. It's something that we've been talking about for a long period of time, and any long-term Hbar holders should be absolutely over the moon with this actually deploying, because of course, don't forget, this is one use case, one enterprise use case of many that are currently in the works that potentially could be going live within Q1. So if we are seeing 500 to 600 transactions per second currently, again, another large scale enterprise use case comes in and suddenly we are pushing thousands of transactions per second. This has real world consequences and potentially as well could have a knock-on effect for price appreciation of Hbar in the long term. But not that being said, in the short term particularly, it is great for adoption, particularly with new projects and enterprises entering the space, seeing what is happening with other enterprises using Hedera Hashgraph today. I'm over on real world TPS as well. realtps.com, I think, is the actual chain. And we can see Hedera has now taken its crown at the top of this list. Of course, we can see Solana down below here. These are, if I click the eye, it says here, large proportion of transactions supported by Solana nodes are actually just validated transactions. They aren't actually part of like a true transaction. So it's not to be accounted with similar weight to others. But we can see Hedera has taken the crown, rightfully at the top of this list, with an average TPS of 592 at the time of me recording this. Of course, it keeps changing. There are so many transactions being processed. Really interesting to look at this. We can see basically the number two, the true number two, is probably Stellar at 135 transactions per second. You've got Binance Smart Chain in there, sub 40. Same goes for Polygon. Ethereum processing a measly 13. Algorand only processing 9.2 transactions per second. Near as well as another popular smart contract platform, 6 transactions per second. You've got Phantom there, 4.68, and the list goes down and down. Nothing coming close to what Hedera is processing with one, and again, I stress, one enterprise use case going live on the mainnet. And of course, we've spoken about it before, but 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏.io is intending to process billions of transactions annually on the Hedera mainnet. This is just the beginning for what they are rolling out. A fantastic Twitter thread here as well, written by Lemonade, an update on the 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏 Hedera use case. Avery Dennison AD 385U8 RFID tags are specifically mentioned in the data section of the product token I mentioned in an earlier tweet. So we can see here there were some different NFTs that were actually launched on Hedera, and they've got these interesting product IDs that we can see. It appears that these paper-thin RFID labels will be used in conjunction with the Hedera consensus service / token service to track billions of items from cradle to grave, i.e. the earliest stages of productions right through to the end of their life, being stages such as recycling. So you can see Avery Dennison is putting all of these different things on the products that are running through the elements of their supply chain. 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏 is planning on adding 300 new items per second, and over 22 billion physical items will be managed on the platform. Billions of these items will be scanned and logged in the Hedera consensus service numerous times. So they're not only scanned once, because along their journey, they may go from factory A to warehouse B to location C to logistics center D. So you may have 4 or 5, 6, 7, God knows how many transactions per single item in its journey from cradle to grave. These basically we're going to see huge amounts of, if you've got 22 billion products, you could literally have 100 billion different transactions taking place if each of them has 4 different transactions logged against them. 6 of the top 10 apparel brands globally and 4 out of the top 10 quick service restaurant chains already use 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏. 706 TPS is only the beginning. We're going way, way higher. Buckle up. And of course, we'd seen that. We saw max transaction processes counts in the thousands previously. Turns out as well, you can actually use LedgerWorks to geolocate individually tagged items on 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗏. If you visit this particular page, let's go here if I can quickly. If I scroll down, let's have a quick look here at explore.ioworks.io. I'll try and leave a lot of these linked down in the description, but you can geolocate different ones of these. So let me have a quick look at this. So this is, of course, one of those transactions that was logged in the service. And if we scroll down here, we start seeing all the different information for this particular transaction that had been submitted for this particular product. So you've got the manufacturing location in terms of the address, zip code, the state, the country that it's currently within, which is Mexico. You've got the city and, of course, the coordinates for that location. So the geolocation information, you've got the name, all of this different schema information, as well as product descriptions as to what is going on with this particular product. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, and this is a complete game changer. And of course, it's probably the main reason why they deployed it ahead of Davos, the World Economic Forum convention, because they want to showcase this in its true power, the true power of Hedera Hashgraph, and also how revolutionary this service is that 𝗟𝗏𝗡 have built for their current clients and customers alike. Incredibly bullish stuff, and hopefully you guys are really happy to be seeing this information. Right then, I just want to quickly round up this video by saying the Hedera.com website has actually just had a bit of an overhaul. So the open source public ledger for enterprises, DeFi, sustainability, and Txns. So of course, and NFTs as well there, CBDCs. So what this is obviously basically saying identity, obviously 𝗟𝗏𝗡, everyone. The whole point of Hedera Hashgraph is the number of use cases and potential for the DLT framework system, ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, is completely endless, and Hedera is absolutely spearheading that. Of course, as well, this website improvement does look fantastic. We can see the number of mainnet accounts created now, 1.5 million transactions in the past 24 hours. That's just died. There we go, it's going up. We can see here the seconds to finality of 4.64 average cost per transaction, of course, fixed at $0.0001, as well as that average kilowatt hour per transaction being incredibly low. Over 20 million transactions in the past 24 hours. We know it's over double that currently. A network governed by organizations globally. So of course that is our governing council, as well as ecosystems built by the community. Fantastic reskin here, looks really nice. Scroll down as well and we can see them now splitting out their applications and use cases. We've got the Web3 ecosystem applications like SourceSwap building out that DeFi. For the retail side, you've got Hashport as well for interoperability, Zeus Marketplace, HeliSwap. Obviously, I've covered loads of these on the channel, tons of videos. And then we've got our enterprise applications, things like ServiceNow, LG, Coupon Bureau. Again, I've spoken about many of these, Miko, MTech, and then of course Avery Dennison, which appears to have gone live. So then rounding up these first 2 weeks of January in crypto or in the crypto space, Hedera has processed over 40 million transactions on one enterprise use case in less than 24 hours. Bitcoin has surged back above $20,000, as well as the Bitcoin year-to-date performance nearly having 20% alpha or 20% oversized return over that of the S&P 500. And of course, we can see there the real TPS, Hedera now being the number one for different chains that currently exist. And that is the return of Bitcoin, 24.24% year to date at the point of that snapshot price, and the S&P 500 only returning 4.16. So it appears the risk on environment has returned. How long will it last? I don't know, but I'm still incredibly bullish on Hedera, and I will continue to be as these developments roll out. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got anything to say. Of course, make sure you're subscribed and you have that notification bell on for future uploads. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.